Hi, I'm Angel, and today I will be reviewing director Guillermo del Toro's 2017 movie, The Shape of Water. It's basically the story of a mute woman who works in janitorial services, and at her job she encounters a non-human entity, we'll just say that, and a relationship builds between the two. Some would call it a modern-day Beauty and the Beast, Del Toro style, or you could also say Cutie and the Creature from the Black Lagoon, because that's more accurate. I heard about the movie, I was not intrigued, I wasn't interested, it kind of looks like Pan's Labyrinth, and that didn't really get me excited. This director definitely has a style of his own, and it's not a style that's really me. But after watching the Oscars and seeing Mr. Del Toro clean up, I thought, okay, fine. Maybe I should give this movie a chance. Maybe it's actually good. Well, once again, this is not for me. Just gonna say overall, it's very Pan's Labyrinth-y in the visuals, and the story is also kind of Hellboy meets Beauty and the Beast meets, well, as I said, the Swamp Thing, Creature from the Black Lagoon, meets Aquaman to a certain extent. I don't know. I had a really hard time buying into the premise and going with it. Just so much was like, uncomfortable. I like the era we're in, I don't know if it's the 50s, the 40s. I like the music they used from earlier times. And they have a lot of vintage TV movie clips in the movie. And when I saw that, you know, black and white clips, I knew, okay, well, there you go. That's why it won an Oscar, because there's a trend with the Oscars that I've noticed. Every movie that has a love for the cinema or an ode to cinema and film, and it portrays some kind of old movie in it or embodies an old style, those movies usually win Oscars. Okay, yeah, it made a nod to the past, it acknowledged its history, but does that mean it deserves an Oscar just because it feels timeless? The performances are good. I wasn't blown away by anyone in particular. Michael Shannon was memorable. I mean, he plays Michael Shannon. At this point, I don't know if he's typecast or he gravitates towards roles that put him in this position where he is just a villain or very intense, creepy, scary. Sally Hawkins, as a mute, had to do a lot of facial expressions and body acting. She did a good job. She really did. They tried to set up this relationship between her and, I guess, her neighbor or caretaker, played by Richard Jenkins, but I don't know, I didn't see it. I felt like this movie wants us to believe, oh, these two go way back and they have a relationship, but I really did not get that. Even Octavia Spencer's character felt very theatrical with the fast talking and the always blabbering because, you know, oh, you have the mute girl, of course she's gonna be friends with the girl who can't stop talking because she just needs somebody to listen to her. It feels like a trope, it feels like something a little bit obvious, I don't know. It felt theatrical. But I think that's what Guillermo goes for. He goes for something kind of big and showy. He's telling a fairy tale, and you're often reminded that this is very much fantastical and not grounded in any reality. But I still feel like he aims for reality. That's why I'm mentioning it. But maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe he just wants us to be in fantasy world and forget about reality, forget about how natural people are, how people talk, how people interact with one another. He just inspires himself from real life, but then chucks it all out the window. My gosh, this movie gave me huge Amélie Poulain, Amélie vibes. That's one of my favorite movies. I haven't seen it in a long time. As a teenager, I watched it over and over and over again. So it's just a part of me, the way Jumanji is. Watching this movie, I saw, okay, color theme is very Amélie, music with the accordion and everything, very Amélie, quirky love story, very Amélie. Richard Jenkins' character, painting near a window. Anyways, it's a French movie for those who don't know, about a quirky, different, unique French Zooey Deschanel kind of girl. It's just about her and her world and how she views the world, and it's interesting. Talk about the best soundtrack ever in cinema. Shout out to Jan Tiersen. Amazing. So one of the elements that is really showy and extra is the villain. He has all the things that a villain has. He's racist, a supremacist, a religious fanatic, he's an idiot, he's gross, like wash your hands, ew. And what, he develops a mute fetish after he meets Eliza, like he's power hungry and insecure and ugh, just too much for me. And we see this kind of rotten personality is portrayed in symbolism. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil it. No pun intended. I'd say this movie is PG-13. I don't know what it's labeled. It's got some mature scenes in there too. It's got some violence, more than I thought it would have. It's kind of visually striking. So yeah, I don't think it's for children. No, No. And the female character at times kind of feels written by a man, but I don't know. I don't know all women, so I can't speak, but every morning in the tub, really? Hey, apparently this woman is exceptional and unusual and it's a fantasy character. When did she learn to tap dance? I had questions. Why eggs exclusively? Isn't that kind of bad for your diet? And then you have the fish dude. Ew, no. Sorry, no. I don't love fish, I eat fish. Now, he's not really a fish. Fine. He's not that far removed, but he is not. They mentioned that he might be some kind of South American god-like creature. A god? No. He seemed to be very much mortal and always on the brink of death. I would say maybe he's an X-Men character, you know? He's a mutant. He is a very more realistic portrayal of what you would expect Aquaman to be. But hot? No, girl. No. I'll tell you what, she was into the mavs is what she was into. I mean, Shape of Water. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It was really hard for me to buy into their evolving relationship. Insecurity much. She makes this speech at some point about feeling like an outsider, feeling alone and deficient as a human being. But when he looks at her or when she's with him, she feels complete. That just sounds like you've got major insecurity issues and what, you are so dissatisfied with who you are that a human man could never be into you. You have to go and find your mate in the fish world? This is not the beginning of a healthy relationship. I had compassion for him as a living being, a creature. I was like, yes, it's unfair that he is in this tank, that he was stolen, that he was brought to this place to be researched and poked and prodded and mistreated. Yes, I can have compassion for him on that level. But as a love interest, as a human being, I have my limits. And I found them through this movie. And it felt at times like they were trying to equate or some kind of metaphor between racism and fishism. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what they were going for, but it felt like they were leaning on, oh, just because he doesn't look like you hate him. They brought up racism in the movie. They brought up homophobia in the movie. They brought up just hating of people that aren't conventional to society in ways that I thought were kind of obvious and just too direct. Either I have seen way too many movies about injustice and discrimination and I'm just fed up with it, or it just kind of felt like a plot device. And emotional manipulation almost to a certain extent. Now you're supposed to hate this character and have sympathy for this character. And that's how you're gonna love the team of misfits that we're putting together for you. The end is somewhat predictable, not super predictable, but when they show Eliza has a certain characteristic in her childhood, you can kind of expect the movie to go in a certain direction, especially at the end, and that's what we get. So cute, creative. I don't know, this movie just felt like a spoof of La La Land. The romantic scenes, the moments where we leave this reality, now we're in a dance sequence, tap dancing, etc. I don't want to say too much, but there's a whole Russian storyline to this movie that I felt was unnecessary. I didn't see how it added anything. It was violent for violence sake. The character involved in that storyline could have been integrated in another way and would have served his purpose just as well. My advice would be, if they're gonna do a sequel, Marvel should snatch this movie up. Talk to your man, Toro, and turn this into the bluish green or teal panther, and we can have Wakanda in South America. Call it El Dorado. I mean, that's kind of what Wakanda was referred to as. And in the end, the creature could just be a guy in a suit, and we see him, you know, exit the waters and zip it off, and it's just William Levy under all of that. That would kill audiences. You're welcome, Marvel. I will accept some royalty fees. Thank you. I think I've said what I had to say about Shape of Water. It's not for me. If you like Del Toro movies, if you like Beauty and the Beast, the concept, if you're not averse to bestiality, if you're into Amélie Poulain, the movie, and La La Land even to a certain extent, if you even like Finding Nemo, watch this movie. Cinema for the graphics, not so necessary. At home, sure. More of a home movie, I would say. But why he won all those Oscars, I'm sorry, it's beyond me. As I said, I think it's just because he referenced old movies and they're just like, oh, look, my grandfather was in this movie. We should give him the Oscar. Just kidding, lots of love. Anyway, your turn to talk. What did you think of Shape of Water? Comment section below. Thanks for watching. Before you go, like this video, subscribe to Music Game News if you haven't already, turn on that notification bell if you have, and have a blessed day. Oh, I didn't answer the question. So what is the shape of water? Is it an octagon? Is it a circle? Is it a triangle? No, it's phallic. Peace.